It's our favorite Rotary Foundation chair, Sandy Shard, who, by the way, is getting ready to go for a walkabout or something like that in the Outback or something like that, I heard, Sandy. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And if you meet Crocodile Dundee out there, just tell me said
And a
hello.
kangaroo.
But I brought Sandy on tonight because she just recently did the Rotary Foundation grant seminar training sessions with our clubs, and we had a tremendous response. And I can't tell you how important the Rotary Foundation is to Rotary, and therefore it should be important to every club. And so I really wanted Sandy to come on here and tell us, again, remind us what the Rotary Foundation is and why it's important to us and why we should be contributing to it, Sandy. Can you convince us?
We'll convince you a couple different ways on how to do different things with it. I hope to anyway. With it, I have put my presentation in the side as well, so everybody always wants to know how to get that. So kind of go from there. So Scott he originally asked me two questions. What is the foundation? He always asks me that, but he knows what it is now off by heart. And why is it important to our clubs to know what it is? So this year we're working on imagination, but your President year is going to be create hope in the world. And best way you can do that is with the Rotary Foundation with it. So I was a president of my own club, the Rotary Club of St. Catharines Lakeshore, and I can tell you it was my best year yet. So I hope you guys have the same thing with it. I found it was a lot of fun to be the president. And if you can get people working with you, that's the goal. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the foundation first, and then tell you how you can make it work for your club and how you can start to plan stuff now, because we like to plan things in advance always. So the Rotary Foundation was started a long time ago, 1917. From Arch Klump started it. He was the president, with $26.50 left in the International Convention budget at the end of the year. Took a long time for this foundation to get going. His goal was to do good in the world, but by 1928, there was still only $5,000 in it. In 1930, they gave their first grant, which was only $500. I love that it was to the International Society of Crippled Children, because if we look at right now, we're doing polio. We've been involved in that for so many years. So where it really started to get going was actually when Paul Harris passed away. When Paul Harris died, my slide's not going to work there. When Paul Harris passed away, he said, please don't send me flowers. Instead, put money in the endowment. And that's not going to do very much good in the world, just sending me flowers. So they ended up getting $1.3 million to the endowment fund at that time, which was a tremendous amount of money. So it's something today you can think about it yourself, is ask people to give money to the foundation, or our own foundation of our district, or your own foundations in your club too. But why our foundation is so important is not just we say it's important. The Charity Navigator, which is a place in the U.S. that tells you whether charities do what they should do, whether they're giving, what they're not giving. They've told people that we're doing so well in the world. And so we're finding not just Rotarians are giving, but non-Rotarians are giving. I was at the Zone conference this year, and they said that one lady just gave $3 million because she heard how much money that it's doing, and found out that we're giving to different stuff. And when we say we're giving 100%, we really are giving about 94.5% back of the $100 you give. But the other thing we're giving, if we look at our Ukrainian grant we just did, we got a grant of $25,000, but we actually sent $125,000 worth of goods. So we're always increasing what we do as well. So we give so much. So what's today? Things have changed. So 2013, which is only 10 years ago, they changed this whole concept of how grants would be done, how we'd give money. I just became a Rotarian at that time. So to me, this is how it was always done. So they went into project grants, which are district grants, global grants, scholarships, and vocational training team. Got Dan on today. He's our vocational training team rep for our district. Then we also went into polio eradication, which we've been doing now almost 30 years. We're going to be done in 30. I believe we are going to be. Rotary Peace Centers, we have 7 around the world, which is teaching people how to be peaceful and teach them how to work with conflict. Disaster relief, we have to remember that we do not go in immediately when a earthquake comes. That's not our goal. Our goal is to help after a disaster relief. And program to scale, every year right now, they've been giving one program $2 million. Huge, huge to do that. So basically what we're doing is we're funding the future with our money. So I like to show everybody where the money goes and how it gets there. So polio money, the money you give to polio goes straight to polio and nothing else. It's 100% right in, right out immediately. Our global grant projects are same thing. Money goes in and goes straight to those global projects immediately. But money that you give to the annual fund is done a couple different ways. If it goes to share, it's going to come back into our districts. If it goes to endowment, share, it's going to go back to our district as well. An endowment is money that you give that is coming back every year. They're only using the percentage of it. So 3 years later, you're seeing our money coming back. And why that's important is that if you tell us what we're doing now, just like the same way we're doing, we talked about just earlier, we know what we're going to get. So 50% comes back to us. So if you did $100 deposit, $100, $47.50 is going to go to the World Fund, which does all kinds of global grants. $47.50 is going to go to our district. And in that district, we get to split it up a couple different ways. And only $5 goes into operating everything. So this last year, this is the year we're working on right now, we came back into our district just to use for grants that weren't global, just to use for regular grants, $57,000. Leslie Murch, our grants chair, had so many district grants come in that people wanted to do your clubs that we had $51,732. We still wanted to do a scholarship, which is very important, and then very little administration costs that we have. So we gave most of that money back to your clubs, and that clubs is what we want to talk a little bit about today, because you guys are one of those clubs. So how does that money come in? First of all, I just wanted to make you to be aware that no money is done through your your fund. So when you get money from Rotary giving you a bill, district giving you a bill, none of that money is done. It's strictly from donations. And we do expect that every Rotarian gives something to it. So the question people always ask me is, how much can I give? You know, we're always asking to give to all these different projects. So what we're asking as Rotarians to give is give what you can afford. That's really what we'd like to do. So we just had one lady in our district give $250,000. I can tell you that was not me. I'm not somebody that can give $250,000. But I can give $10 a month. And we're finding the easiest way for people to give, I just went to a seminar, is monthly. It's not yearly, it's monthly. So if you did Rotary Direct monthly, $10, we could do that. What does it work out to be? About 28 cents a day. So it's really not that much. And if we can get every Rotarian to give, you become an every Rotarian every year. Best way, as I say, is through Rotary Direct. And the best way to do it is if it averages out to a club, gets $100, we give you these great banners and we celebrate that your club is celebrating it. You do not see one unhappy smile there. They're all happy smiles of presidents that have received those. If you're the club that gives the most of the year, we have districts where we give the most. And I can tell you it's very hard to beat Niagara Falls, but let somebody try to do that. They've won it the last few years with it. So the thing is I wanted to say today is, how can we help you in Foundation? What can it do to help your club? Because that's what you guys want to know. So number one, I mentioned about district scholarships. These are 3 scholarships that we've given out in the last few years with it. We changed our scholarship program up this year, and this is something you want to be working on right now as president. So if you're a president-elect, get your presidents working on this, or your youth chairs is who you want to get working on it. So we're giving out 3 scholarships, which you're giving out because you're going to come up with the names of. We're giving 2 $1,000 awards and 1 $1,500 award. And I had a few people tell me they didn't think $1,500 was very much. But we had the student that won it last year from high school came and told us at the foundation celebration that he would not have been that he would not have been able to afford going to university if it wasn't for that 1,500. So what you do is on our online site, on the district website, you go on there and you have an application form. So you should be going out to schools right now, and it's your way to go into the schools. Yes, I know a lot of you have your own foundation scholarships, but why not have another one? Does it hurt to give more than one out? These are the best ones. These are the club-sponsored humanitarian projects. And as we saw out of our money, most of that went that way. So what we're offering all you clubs is $2,000 free money. We will match your $2,000. So if you give $2,000, we'll match it for $2,000. What type of projects could you do? Park benches. You could do pathways. These guys in the middle look like they're having fun. They're wrapping Christmas presents. So Scott said about having some fun. There's some having fun doing a foundation. So what they did is they got Christmas gifts for these students, and then they wrapped them all. So there's so many different projects you can do. Maybe you could have fun getting in the mud and doing projects with gardens as well. You also can do projects around the world. They don't have to be locally. They can be projects internationally as well. New way to do projects right now is we had started it this year. It's our first year doing it. We're allowing you to do a collective district grant. So if you don't think your project, you really need more money to do the project, why not get together with a couple other Rotary clubs in your area? So if you're in Jamestown, maybe Jamestown clubs could get together, or if you're in St. Catharines, where I am, the 3 clubs got together this year and they all gave. My club maybe wants to give $2,000. Maybe the other clubs never done a grant before, would like to get started. They only give $500. That's fine too. So there's 2 different ways to do that. The best way to come up with projects, though, is brainstorming. You should never have just one person in your club come up with a project. You want your club to buy in. Ask them ideas to do it. So this is what you as presidents-elects right now are doing. This is your project. Get you started right now, because these have to be in by April 30th is where we need these projects in by. So we were in the middle of qualifying. Yeah. So we're in the middle of qualifying. So 2 members needed to attend the district grant seminar. If they didn't, and you don't have to, we still have another way you can do it. Contact Leslie. She'll tell you how. You have to have your foundation chair named in Rotary International. That's not naming it on your website. That's not telling me that every year that you should know that our past president becomes the foundation chair. It needs to be put in Rotary International. In the same way as Dave said in the beginning, that way we know who the person is, and Rotary International can allow them to get into websites, can allow them to know things as well. And we need your goals entered in Rotary International. Dave will show you how to do that. I can do that as well if you need help with that. And this is where you guys, as president-elect, need to sign your MOU saying that, yes, you know that project is going to be done, and we have $2,000 set aside to match your $2,000. And pick a project. So many exciting projects you can do. I just had a project yesterday, which may not sound exciting to you, but it was to me. They put a washer and dryer in a senior's home that was low income, that had no money for a washer and dryer. Great thing to do, especially in the US where there's lots of snow. Not going to put it outside. So you got to get those projects in by April 30th. Who should do that for you? Probably your foundation chair. Maybe if you guys have a service project person, anybody in the club could do that. Global grants are bigger grants. They're grants of 30,000 or more. It's a little harder to get them, and you have to be one of the 7 areas of focus to do them. Those are the 7 areas of focus that are up right now. If you actually gave 12,000 as a club, you can make it 30,000, because by the time you match with our district, we will give you up to 10,000 if it's a project outside of our district, 15,000 if it's a project in, and then Rotary International will match as well, $8,000. This is Dave Barry's project, which our Rotary Foundation is going to help him expand this year. So for the last 5 years, I could be wrong, it might be a little less, Dave, the Niagara district area of 7090 has done a grant where 16 clubs or less got together and they each put in $1,000 investment. At the end, getting the money together. They met for one day and they decided to vote on one project that they would each put the $1,000 in. Once you were going to all put the $1,000 in, and that project became their project for the year as a global grant. We're expanding it a little this year. We're going to do that to the New York State as well, New York 7090. We're going to allow you guys to do a cluster as well. We're looking for somebody to help coordinate that with us. And the Niagara is going to expand to all the Ontario as well. So what I'm asking for you presidents-elect, is to look at your budget for next year that you'll be working on shortly, we hope, and try to see if you can get $1,000 put into there right now that you could then start to work on for that project. So the other thing you need, as we said, is you need a club chair. I really like to call it a club foundation champion. You need to be picking one of those. If you have one already, that's fine, but you might want to consider somebody new. One of the things I found last few years is only 59% of the Rotary Foundation chair people even give to the Rotary Foundation. I really think if you want a champion of something, you need that champion to be somebody who gives, even if it's only $10, $25 a year, but they need to believe in it. You can have them help you promote at the Rotary Foundation at your meetings. Maybe a 2-minute talk is the best because we say so much stuff, it's easier to do little bits in 2 minutes. They should also help the membership chair teach people what foundation's about for your new or your potential members so they know what it's about. A lot of people get on board as a Rotarian and they have no idea what foundation is or what it could do. People get involved in Rotary clubs to do service projects, so that's important. Publicity, Dave talked on this, is you need to get these programs out there. You do these great projects and then you don't put them on your website. You don't put them anywhere. I see that when I go visit your clubs. I go see what projects you've done. I know what projects you've done, but you haven't put them on your site. So they need to get involved. They also need to get involved with your youth services because of Rotary Scholarship as well. And they help the president-elect establish their goals to ensure they get reports on time. A couple other things that you need to look at is celebrate your Paul Harris Fellows. So as soon as somebody gets $1,000 as given $1,000, they become a Paul Harris. As the president, you're going to be sent that pin and a letter. And I will guarantee you in that letter tells you who it is. But I would say most presidents say they can't find it. It's very small print, but it does tell you who it is that's receiving that. So please make sure you read that. Don't just throw it at them. I had one member tell me it was thrown at them in the car as they were leaving. Oh, by the way, we forgot this came in the mail for you. Be excited and showcase it somewhere. Also, as well, a lot of you have points in your bank. I can show you where at if you ask me after, that you can give Paul Harris Fellows to the community out there. The more you give them to the community, the more, again, you're getting publicity. So try and do something Paul Harris Fellow. I love to come to those events. Invite me to come. I know Scott will be attending a lot of them next year as well. Don't forget October 24th is World Polio Day. It's not too late now or too early to start thinking about what you could do. Would you like to get involved in or participate for polio? Would you like to do a project yourself? The idea behind the day is not always just to give money, but it's also to showcase to people what polio is. And I can show you where polio will be eradicated by 2030. The other thing you want to look at is do something on Foundation Month, which is a month of November. This year we did a foundation celebration. I'm hoping to do another one again. So that's a good time to work with your foundation chair, to work with maybe doing your Paul Harris that time. But look at those dates in your calendars, what to do. I have so much stuff on the website, it's not funny. And unfortunately, we all have 3 websites. We have our club website, we have our district website, and we have, as we just talked about, Rotary.org. Our Rotary website, which is now being done professionally for us, we have ours if you go down to committees, we're down here under Rotary Foundation, and we have all these different programs there. I send out a monthly newsletter that will go to yourself. You should be getting them already, your foundation chair and the president, and there's a lot of information in there for you. So this is my last of my thing. This is what Arch Kump, who started with 2650, said we should look at foundation as not being something of today or tomorrow, but things in terms of years and generations to come. That's what he said, which I believe is very similar to what we're saying with strategic planning. We're planning everything for the future. We give today for tomorrow. So hopefully that gave you guys some ideas of things you can start to plan already. Your homework is to get working out there. If you have any questions, I love to come to clubs to talk as well. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Sandy. I just, a couple things that come to mind here. When it comes to Polio Plus, none other than Bill Gates has thought that what we're doing is just incredible and has given us a great deal of funds in 2-to-1 actually matching from what we donate to the Polio Plus Foundation. And I think what he's up to the tune of about $400 million now or something like that, or it's some crazy number. He spoke at the International Assembly a couple weeks ago. It was pretty neat to see someone like that who believes so firmly in the the mission of the Rotary Foundation, of course, and especially with our polio eradication program. But I was also able to hear so many different projects. They were funded by the Rotary Foundation, and the good that's being done around the world because of the foundation is just enormous. And so, when you think about your donations going somewhere, this is clearly a spot that's going to make a tremendous impact. So I appreciate the information, Sandy. And again, take advantage of Sandy. She will come to your club. She will talk more about this. She'll get into more depth than what you got today, and she will get you donating. So that's what I want to hear that. So, Sandy, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Scott, I'd just like to chime in a little bit, because I think that one of the things that's hard for members to grasp is that if you give money to the foundation, don't forget it comes back to you 50% in 3 years, and you have that money to use. So it's like giving to yourself. So you need to think about that when you're trying to talk to your members about giving to the foundation. And oh yeah, gosh, wouldn't it be good if we could spend $1,000 doing a grant? And oh, guess what? The district's going to match our money for $1,000. So I mean, there's a big sell there that you can get out of that, and you can do more through the foundation. So that's how I feel about it. So I'm done.
Thanks for the testimonial, Dan. You're hired. He's absolutely right, though. You are giving money, and it is coming back to us. And so it is a way of giving to yourself, and it's also a way of enhancing the projects that you already want to entertain, not only in our district but around the world. So take advantage of it. So thank you very much. Appreciate it, Dan.